We'll do that again.
Okay, we're live. Meeting's yours, Madam Chair.
Okay, so at 7 o'clock, we'll call the White Lake Township Planning Commission meeting to order for June 3rd, 2021. First, we'll do a roll call. And Rhonda, can you help me out with that?
Mary Carlock.
Here. White Lake.
Steve Anderson, excused. Peter Maher.
Here, White Lake.
Matt Slicker.
Here, White Lake.
Rhonda Grubb, here, White Lake. Mark Fine, excused. Joe Seward.
Present, White Lake.
Debbie DeHart.
Here, White Lake.
Scott Ruggles, excused.
Is that everybody? Okay, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could get a flag there, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and now we have the agenda, approval of the agenda. Have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Changes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have to do a roll call for that?
Well, we had an attorney here one night and she said if it wasn't something like critical, we did not.
Oh, good.
That was the township attorney. I'm going by what she said, so. And now we have the minutes from May 6th. Is that the right date, John? May 6th, 2021.
Yes.
Or any corrections, additions, edits? Did we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll move to approve the minutes. Seward.
Thank you, Joe. A second
Support.
from Rhonda. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. The next thing is call to the public for items not on the agenda. Are there any people in our waiting room? I guess you push *9 if you wish to speak, if you're in the waiting room.
No callers at the
No
moment.
callers tonight. We also do not have a public hearing tonight. So we're going to turn it over to Sean for number 7, continuing business for the preserve at Hidden Lake.
Okay, thank you. I will start with the planning comments first, once I introduce it. And then if Mike isn't on, I will probably jump into the engineering comments. It's pretty straightforward. Preserved Hidden Lake, as you recall, several months ago, actually many months ago, the site plan was approved and the first phases at the south end of the project are already well on their way with construction. This was, I think there were 68 single family units in this development, and there are now, and I'm trying to think, there were 120 total units originally approved. And it was a mix of single family. I think it was initially 68 single family homes, 37 townhomes, 12 duplexes and 1 triplex. And after getting approval and starting construction, Mr. Pisecki, the developer who's here tonight, felt that the duplex condos were more marketable and he could finish the project a lot sooner. And certainly our office had no objection to it. And quite honestly, I would concur with him based on the demand that we see in our office and hear from residents on. And so they're back tonight asking to actually have an amended final site plan and an amended development agreement to reduce their overall density and number of units by 23. So all the townhome units or townhome condo units will come out and stacked townhomes. And then instead it'll be the duplex units with 1 triplex. And those are primarily ranch style, aren't they, Craig?
Yes, correct. They're all ranch. We do have an option for a bedroom upstairs, like a loft style, the bathroom. Yep.
And so, for those of you who are here in the meeting, you know where this is at. For those who might be joining on YouTube, this is just south of St. Pat's, where significant construction has gone on this construction season, and actually last year as well. So, again, this is zoned PD, and they are asking to amend their final site plan, and they're asking to amend after that their final, I should say, their approved development agreement. So, getting into the final site plan, there were no comments by the fire department. I think initially they had some questions and concerns about the height of the townhome, which was resolved. So when the townhomes went away, they had no further issues. And accessibility is a little bit easier from an emergency vehicle perspective with the new layout as well. There were a couple comments on the planning side of things here. And I don't know if Craig or Pat could address this. The proposed maximum height and the zoning ordinance is 30 feet or 2 stories. I don't know if that's going to be an issue. 30 feet's measured at the midpoint between the peak and the gutter or the roof. So it says in the review here that it wasn't provided. I mean, do you intend on it meeting the 30 feet or 2 stories?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the same as phase 1. That's because we don't have any 2 stories really. So.
Okay, this phase doesn't have some of the single family along.
Yeah. Well, the 38 lake lots do, the individual lots, those will be the same as phase 1. So yeah, they'll be within that.
We'll just make sure we plug in that same 30 feet or 2 stories, knowing that all the new duplexes we're really focusing on tonight aren't going to get nearly that large in size.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
There were some concerns regarding setbacks. Unit 78 in the plan had a 19-foot rear yard setback. And then the unit 89 had a 25-foot setback from Union Lake Road and Hutchins Road. Pat, do you have the ability to share your screen? And so we can kind of go through this real quick. Oh, you're muted.
Yep, I'm sorry. No, I cannot share it.
Okay, let me do that then.
Thank you.
And you might get motion sickness. All right, I've got to zip through. So I guess I'll go through. We'll get through a couple of these other things here. The review asks for. Let's see. No, I think that was really primarily it. I think it was a development agreement review that asked for the landscape plan to be included as an exhibit, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let me zip down here. It's going to take my computer a second to catch up. Okay, so here is 89, and here is, what was the other? I mentioned it. 89 has, I think, the 19-foot setback. I don't think 97 or 69 are an issue. I don't know if there's a way. Didn't we talk, Pat and Craig, about being able to maybe massage the location of this a little bit, or maybe it has been?
It has been, yes.
Okay. What will the setback of 89 be, so we can just make a note of that?
We've got, I'm looking at 25 foot both ways to Hutchins and to Union Lake Road. It shows on the plan right there, 25 foot from the corner toward the right of way on Hutchins and toward the right of way on Union Lake.
Okay.
It's labeled as 25. I know what you're saying. There was a previous one that had the 19.
Okay. I just want to make sure, and I don't know what, so we'll be able to guarantee that 89 will be 25 feet.
Yeah, I think
either right of way. I mean, it's much further from the traveled portion of the road.
Yeah.
Because I think the right of way line cuts right through here, correct?
Yeah, Sean, I think where the 19 was on the older plan was down at the triplex 97, which used to be separated. We moved it together, and I think that's where the 19 was.
Yeah, previously, just so everybody else knows, 97 was by itself. and then 95 and 96 were a duplex. And then we had talked, there were no triplexes. And then I had talked to Craig and said, listen, we could get quite a bit of distance if we just flop that over and make it a triplex. And, you know, he had no issue with it. So I think we're probably good. And if that minimum is 25, I think we'll be in pretty good shape as long as the planning commission doesn't have an objection. I don't know. You know, maybe on this corner, we could maybe plant a couple more trees just to kind of try to buffer in here.
Yeah,
That corner is now 30 foot, just so you know, Sean.
97 to the corner,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
one. Yep.
I would say maybe plug a couple more Norway spruces or white pines in here would be my recommendation, just off this corner to help separate. You know, it'll be a few years before they really fill in, but
right.
that would be my suggestion to help buffer that a little bit.
All right.
And then, you know, again, and just so the planning commission knows, some things are a little crowded here, but you know, it's because of the fact that we're trying to take all those stacked units out and try to give him still a reasonable return on this project. So it looks, you know, as crowded or maybe more crowded than the previous plan, but it's, believe it or not, it's a reduction of 23 units. So that's a, you know, reduction in that many more vehicle trips a day and that much more impact. So, you know, we're certainly supportive of it. And there are a couple spots where there's a little give and take, but I think the end result is still going to be a net benefit for everybody involved. It's a product that I think the market desires. I think it's something that's going to make the corners still look good. And it's something that the developer, you know, can work with as well.
Are there any elevations of that, of those duplexes somewhere?
You look here. Sorry. This is really getting slow. Craig, do you have elevations on your computer?
I had, yeah, let me see. I had sent the ones to Hannah and copied you on.
The problem is if I don't have them on my thumb drive, and not that the whole world needs to know this or care this, but I can't be on I can't log into the server without losing sound on Zoom. There's some weird thing with all of our township laptops. So I can't get to it right now without losing all my sound.
Okay, so if I can I just go directly to my email and pull up the PDF or?
Yeah, let me stop my share. So if you open it on your computer, once you're looking at it.
Then he can click share.
Yeah. Craig, once you have it and you go back to the screen where you see all of our boxes, you'll see a green arrow that says share screen. Do you see that? Okay, just click that and you'll see all your open files on your computer.
Okay.
And just click on the one that has your elevation when that pops up, and you'll probably start sharing.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Let me see here.
So it's the bottom middle.
Okay, I
Only
have
if
it.
you touch the rest of the screen.
I have the duplex on my screen right now, and then it shows the one in the upper right corner.
Yeah, if you click back to the Zoom screen where you can see all of our pictures.
Okay.
The main screen, do you see at the bottom where it says share screen?
Sometimes you have to click the screen itself to get that to pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, or mouse over the bottom, like by the toolbar.
Okay.
Do you see where it says share screen?
Yep, I got that. Yep, I hit it. Everything is
okay. Now you should be able to select that image off of your computer. It'll show you everything that's open on your computer, and just click on that file.
Okay. 1 second. Let me see if it works. It says share content. So I don't know, is that what we're talking about? The share content in the upper right, or?
If you click share screen, if you click share screen, another box will pop up and it'll show you everything. It'll show you everything that's open on your computer. And then you should be able to click on that box and there'll be a blue share button on that sub box.
I don't see share screen on here. I'm sorry.
Sometimes it's not on unless you click or have your mouse towards the toolbar, above the toolbar at the bottom.
It's a green symbol.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, screen, I gotcha. Okay, so I said screen, now it says screen broadcast, Zoom, start broadcast.
I don't think that's it.
No, okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Pat,
That's
do you
okay.
have any of this on your computer by chance?
Not, I'm at home, so not on this one, no. No, I do not
Um,
have I do not have our plans on it. I didn't have his elevations anyway, sorry.
So you're saying they're basically one story and maybe with a loft on some if people want them.
Yeah, so basically what we did was we did put them garage to garage. I don't know if you've been by the Williams Lake Road project, the bluffs over there. They're building the
Mhm.
duplexes and they have the garage to garage. That's what we plan on doing. And then
Mhm.
we will have a loft option at top, which would be like a dormer, some windows up above, in the roof line.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there, and then the entry doors will be on the outside. And then this allows us to put like windows and stuff on the outside, like the family room, the dining room, a lot more light into the unit compared to
Yeah.
have common wall where there is no, ability to put windows. So that's why we ended up changing it that way. But yeah, so it's just a single story ranch, basically.
Mhm.
with-
And then
with a-
people enter on the sides.
Right, exactly. So
Oh,
it's a little
okay.
more private entry too, you're not
And then
entering right next to each other. So the driveways separate the two units.
So what
Right.
happens with that center triplex unit? That one doesn't get.
Yeah,
a-
that one's gonna have to be designed special because, yeah, you're right. We can't have windows on either side. So we're gonna have to get creative with that one. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what the floor plan's gonna look like on that one yet. So, but we'll figure it out.
Craig, do you know what date you sent that to me? I
I
can
just sent
try.
it actually just today. Yep, I just sent it probably
you
about
did.
2 hours before the meeting. So,
Okay.
yeah, I can resend if you want.
Duplex plan. I think I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me look here. I can try a really weird way of doing this and see if it works. Let's see. Maybe I don't. I'm sorry, you said just today?
Yeah, it was just like a couple hours ago. I sent it to Hannah and copied you on it.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to look through.
Can I ask a question while you're searching, Sean?
Sure.
So when I looked at the plan that you had up, I didn't see any guest parking. Craig, is there any area for if you have a party and 10 people show up? Is there any?
Not really. It would just be in the street itself. I mean, the driveways, you could fit probably at least 2 vehicles in the driveway of each unit. And then it would have to be street parking. There wouldn't be enough. Yeah, there's no additional overflow parking.
So Craig, I found this. This is probably going to be horrible, but you know what? Let's just try it.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that helps.
That's pretty good.
It is.
So-
Yeah.
If I could
still
get
get
it.
my
I could
phone.
have done that, Sean. So
I
sorry.
Yeah.
If
So
you put speaker view, you can blow it up full screen.
if I'm speaking, okay. Oh, so you're saying, yeah, okay. So
Other people push on the
If other
right
people
corner.
put
You
it to
can
speaker
put
view.
speaker view, and then that'll
yeah,
blow it up.
so previously Craig had the garages on opposite ends, and I think this is what he was talking about. He had talked to me a couple of weeks back saying, hey, what if I just sandwich the garages together in the middle, which gives us the ability to put some more windows in the units. And frankly, if the building footprint is the same and it meets all the setback requirements and it's just moving the garages, I don't have an objection to it. If we can get a couple more windows as a result, then I think the end product will probably look better. And so I think that's one of the things he wanted to talk about tonight, because
And do you have a picture of the side view where the front door is?
I do not. No, I actually just got that elevation to them. We're still kind of tweaking it a little bit too. That's kind of a preliminary, but I don't have any other information on that other than the way it's lays out. You walk in the front door, there's a foyer, and then you're into like the kitchen dining room area, and then the family room's in the back. So the family room will have windows across the back side and then windows on the side also. So like an L-shaped windows, and then we'll have windows in the dining kitchen area also on the outside wall. And then the master bedroom's in the back right. So there'll be windows, in the back for the bedroom, of course. And then there's one bedroom up front that front window you see on the elevation represents the window in the bedroom. So But I'll have, some more plans pretty quick here, but I've just been kind of trying to get these things put together as quick as possible. Everybody takes forever, but
Do these have basements?
yes, yeah, full basements, correct.
So, yeah, sorry for that little patch job on getting the elevation up, but I wanted to, while we're talking about this, skip to Mike's review and let you know that in summary, his recommendation is that they find the final site plan to be acceptable, subject to clarification of the unit and phasing numbering, which we had kind of talked about before the meeting, and we'll have to talk to Craig about that, just so everything matches up. After you guys are done with this, assuming that you're good with it and the board approves the development agreement piece of this, goes to the master deed with all the exhibits, which are all the drawings that show the layout of this project, goes over to the county, and we need to make sure all the unit numbering and all the phasing matches up between the plan and the master deed, so there's no confusion when it comes down to lot numbering and addressing and the issuance of Sidwell numbers. So we'll do that. And then there's a few minor items that they need to address with the final engineering plan prior to the approval of that revised plan. So they just want those things kind of cleaned up, and they're asking for a response letter. Mike's asking for a response letter that just details those kinds of things. And, they're pretty much good to go. Like I said at the onset, it's not often that somebody comes back and asks for, almost 20% reduction in density, but it made sense as to why they were asking, and we're trying to move them quickly through the process so they, don't lose a construction season on some of these units, and they can keep moving ahead so we can get the project, wrapped up. So I don't know, Mike.
Can you summarize the two actions you're asking of the board, and then we'll see if anybody else has any questions or comments?
Sure, and we can take them separately, and I can get into the development agreement. As all of you know, the development agreement in a PD project is just sort of that supporting legal document that is kind of binds the development approval to the developer to the township. And that document, because the site plan is changing, needs to change. And here comes Mike. That document needs to change to reflect new exhibit drawings that pull in all the new site plans. So that's the reason the development agreement, primarily the reason the development agreement's being amended, is to amend all of the exhibits. But because we were taking it through this process, it made sense to just bring it all forward. It's pretty minor, though. There are fewer things to even discuss in the development agreement. I think the planning review called out adding the landscape plan as an exhibit, so we'd like to do that. The legal review talked about having some libers and pages on the recorded documents not referenced accurately, and we'll sort through that and make sure that's all taken care of. And then making sure that we do get a title commitment before the developer executes the documents, so that way we can ensure that he's the proper signer, which I'm sure he is. It's just a process. So hi, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
I was about ready to break out into song, and then here you are. You saved the day. So Mike, and I know you're just getting on, and I don't want to dump everything on you, but we're talking about Preserve It Hidden Lake. We've talked about some of the final site plan changes. I just hit on a couple of items in your letter, which didn't really have many items because it's pretty straightforward. And we're talking about the development agreement as well. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add, at all.
As far as the final site plan, it really seems like an easy one to approve from my standpoint. Utilities were already addressed. There's really nothing significant that I can really bring up. You might have already mentioned it, but I noted there was a discrepancy in the unit counts that I wanted addressed. So
yeah, we had just kind of talked about making sure that the numbers, all the unit numbering match up. All the unit numbering matches up with the plan and the master deed especially. So, Aaron, I don't know if you have anything on this. I know you're obviously real familiar with the development and the project. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add at this point. If you don't, no big deal.
Nope.
Okay. So the two items are, again, the amending the final site plan, which you guys take the final action on. I would just say subject to the addition of, I think we talked about a couple of additional pine trees at the corner of Unit 97, and subject to any of the other comments that are found within the review letters, which I think the applicant has agreed to. So that's pretty straightforward. And then as far as the development agreement, I would just say recommend to the board amended plan development agreement approval, subject to the comments found within the review letters as well. And we'll certainly be happy to sort that out. The one other thing I guess I would ask is that if you are okay with them flipping the units to where the garages are next to each other as opposed to being on the opposite sides of the building, so long as the setbacks are met, then I would make that a part of your motion as well, just so that way it's clear, and that they'll provide all of those elevations consistent with what we saw tonight, the complete elevations, to the township, so we can incorporate those into the final set of plans.
Okay, we might need to have you help us. I don't know. I'm hoping Pete's taking notes over there
It looks like it.
because
I'm glad he opened the blinds. I couldn't even see him. I don't know what's going on over there.
Does anybody on the board, Matt, would you like to go
Yeah, I
ahead?
just had a couple of comments. The sidewalk along Hutchins there, we got a dead ending into the property right there on the west side, so we should probably get that fixed. We're not getting easement from him. Craig had mentioned about parking on the street. On Arcadia Lane, we got this boulder wall right up against the back of the curb. We should try to push that back some, so if someone can open their door up if we're parking along the street in that area. And then on these sidewalk connections, I always like to see the roads connected. I know we're not doing that on these sidewalks. I was a kid once, and I think we need to get some bollards on each end of these things so we don't get people running to the end of these millward streets and keep going down these sidewalks and going on to this new development here. Something to kind of do, even though I like the connection to the sidewalk, I think we gotta get something there that doesn't allow the cars to go through too. And maybe there's trees there. I don't know. I'm just.
Which area are you talking about?
All these sidewalk connections to these the existing streets on the west side.
I think Millward and Ashdown, those sidewalk connections, which
yeah, okay.
just something to protect, yeah. And actually on Mandan and Kettering as well.
Aren't they only 5 foot wide?
Well,
I driving a vehicle on them.
Well, I don't think they can either, but you're gonna grade wider than that, right? And some kids can go down there, and I guarantee you. But if you guys don't care about getting turfed, then that's fine.
So is that what they call lawn jobs now, turfed?
Or whatever you want to call
it. That sounds
it.
Cooler. I mean, I'm just not very hip.
Yeah.
Just ask my kids. So I know we've got some fencing over there and some landscaping, and so I don't know if we can, utilize some of that as well as. I mean, I see your point, Matt.
I'm just saying that either way. I mean, it doesn't make a big difference to me. I'm just saying it should be some kind of buffer there, so to kind of deter people from doing that. Southfield's got one that it's a long stretch and people do it all the time. If that bollard's not there. So
we have to have that open? I mean, I know we have a cross there, but is it required that because basically a sidewalk doesn't lead to another side, obviously.
Yeah, that was another issue I had too, is we're just kind of throwing people out on the road, but I like the connectivity though. And it could be just throw a couple of trees at the end of the streets. I don't know. And
we can continue the fence all the way across. That'd be good with me.
I think it would be good to at least have a couple of them. I know you've got quite a few.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I guess it depends. I see 4 of them. I mean, it would be good to keep a couple of them. I don't know what everybody thinks.
Can you share your screen again? I know it's hard to get the site plan open. But just maybe show. Oh, good. That came right up.
I thought this was something we were asked to do, Sean.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know that it definitely was something you were, sorry, it's skipping here.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that was asked for.
Wouldn't the fence just clean it up if we just bring a fence within like a foot of each side? No one's gonna drive through then. It's only gonna be 6 foot wide.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Between fencing and landscaping, you could really kind of box that in and make it look good because you've got a mix of, I think, a mix of fencing and landscaping down there anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I know we had talked about this initially and the board had supported it. So I think leaving them in there isn't a bad idea. But just maybe bringing, like Pat's saying, go a foot on either end of the sidewalk. And I mean, someone could take a bike through there or even maybe a dirt bike, but it's hard to keep a dirt bike out of most places. So yeah, maybe we could do that. Matt, to your point, we could try to look at, amending a landscape and fencing plan that would kind of close that in a little bit. So if you want to add that in the motion, we'll guarantee that, not guarantee, we'll ensure that we take another look at that and get it cleaned up like Pat was saying.
Yeah. And then lastly, the water main, I just picked this up while I'm looking at it, but the water main along the entrance of Preserve Lane, they got it going under the wall for the entrance wall. So I want to get that out of there.
I think that's already.
The water main's in. Yeah.
Yeah.
The water main's in.
All right.
I believe that was previously addressed.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Matt, you had made a comment about a sidewalk. Is it over here that you're saying?
Yeah, that one. It's we got a dead ending of this guy's property here.
Yeah, I mean, generally we do just dead end it at the edge of the property line, so it's stubbed for the future rather than, ending it over here.
Meaning, see how his right of way is different.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's onto his property instead of, so it needs to kind of tail
his
toward
frontage,
Hutchins. I see what you're saying. Okay.
S curve there.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good eye, Matt. Thank you for.
Yeah, especially at that scale too, Matt. Jeez.
Well, I looked at it earlier, zoomed in.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'll zoom in so everybody else can kind of see.
It runs into his property and
So it just hits, yeah. So we'll hold it back and then, kind of contour it a bit. Mike Lufkin, is that good with you?
Yeah, no issue. I was just gonna try to look at the right of way to see if I can verify that, but no issue swinging it out a little bit to the right of way. And we don't have to get future easements and it's possible to extend it.
Perfect. Yeah, good catch, Matt.
You good, Matt? Or
Yeah, that's all I had. Yeah.
okay.
So
Deb,
Peter, you still taking notes?
I hope so.
No, I'm done. By the way, I would have caught that too, of course.
I know you just didn't get to you yet. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. How about you, Debbie? Any comments or questions?
What is the required setback from the, I know that you have like two fronts with the Hutchins and Union Lake Road on those, well, I lost the numbers, but on those units that are now 25 feet on each side, what is the required setback?
I believe the required setback in a residential, comparable residential district would be 30.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So because it's a planned development, do we not have to go in front of the ZBA?
Correct. You're allowed to, if you're okay with it being 25 feet, I think it's, and I'm waiting for my screen to show back up again. I think it's lot 89, that's 25 feet. Then you can allow for that.
Okay.
Rhonda?
How many of the duplexes were going to have the loft or the second story?
Haven't really determined that yet, whether we're gonna just include the loft in them or just like build them to suit possibly, so, but the elevation shouldn't change whether you have the loft or not. We'll still either show some type of a dormer up top. So whether there's actually a room or not, it'll look consistent throughout the development, either way, so.
And what's the average square foot per unit?
Like 1550, that's without the loft area. So with the loft area, you're probably looking at like another 150 square feet.
And that's 3 bedrooms?
It'd be 2 bedrooms downstairs, and then the loft would be the extra 3rd bedroom.
Okay.
Joe, how about you, Joe?
Nope, I don't have any questions on this one.
Okay. Pete, I ended up with you for a reason.
The dead end. No, I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Want to hazard the, well, you need two motions.
Yep. I'll give them a shot
thank you.
unless Joe would like to do them.
Well, I got the one. I move to approve the amended final site plan, subject to adding additional trees to the, I guess that would be the northeast corner of lot 97, subject to the comments in the review letters, acknowledging that we're okay with the driveways. Well, subject to the elevations for the duplexes to comply with what was shown to us. And then subject to the comments that Mr. Slicker made about the sidewalk stubs and up on Hutchinson Road. Did I get everything, Sean?
Well, I think so.
Good
That's
job.
I had to move that wall too along Arcadia Lane, if that's possible.
I don't know that that is possible.
Yeah, it's pretty tight there, right behind those units, so not sure.
There was one more item though that you didn't mention. It was that curving that walk up by Hutchins. So
He did. He
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
oh,
He
did you
got
say
that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a sidewalk stubs, which were the ones to the west that he mentioned, kind of curving the
Okay.
Hutchins walk.
Okay, gotcha.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? Okay, do we have a second for the motion?
I second.
Wait.
Could I just
Second.
ask Sherry if Sherry, do you have everything you need?
Guess not.
Sherry, are you there? Oh, there she
Sherry.
is.
Get unmuted. Yes, I
Okay.
have everything. I picked
Gotcha.
up everything on.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, and then Pete, I know we had Debbie and Pete doing the second. So I guess we'll take.
Give it to Debbie.
Debbie, give it to Debbie. Okay, you're going on the permanent record then, Debbie. Okay, can we have Rhonda, can we have a roll call vote for this motion?
Mary Carlock,
Yes.
Peter Maher,
Yes.
Matt Slicker,
Yes.
Joe Seward,
Yes.
Debbie DeHart,
Yes.
Rhonda Grubb, yes.
Okay, that passed. And what's the next one we need to do?
I'll take the tough one.
Okay.
I move that with regard to the preserve at Hidden Lake, that the White Lake Township Planning Commission recommend to the full township board approval of the revised amended, I should say the amended final site plan approval. No, wait a minute. Now I'm confused.
Development plan?
Plan development agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, the plan development agreement.
Support,
Okay, we need another roll call.
And that's just subject to all the comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, subject to all the planning department and consultant comments.
And any other discussion? Okay, and I guess we need and Rhonda, did you second it?
yes. Support,
Okay, and now you can do the roll call.
Mary Carlock,
Yes.
Peter Maher,
Yes.
Matt Slicker,
Yes.
Joe Seward,
Yes.
Debbie DeHart,
Yes.
Rhonda Grubb, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Excited to see your new development.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the help.
Thank you.
Good night.
So we're done. We can hang up now.
You can.
Hey,
Okay. Guys, have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
all right. The next item is new business, the Elizabeth Lake Road and M59 Highland Road. Conceptual discussion and review. So Sean, what's going on here? It looks like it's very similar to what we saw before.
Yes, so tonight, Mr. Yaldo and Mr. Jawich are here, and they're going to share with you their conceptual plan and ask you for some feedback. I drafted a fairly brief memo that's in your packet that says this applicant was before you in March for a planned business minimum acreage waiver that was successful. You recommended approval to the board, and they're now here seeking conceptual feedback. No actions to be taken yet, but you have in your packet the version of their plan that's currently under review for the second time. Those review comments are not due back to our office until next week, June 9th. And so we really only have the first round of comments, and you obviously saw a very basic plan, but didn't really have review comments along with it when you saw it in March. And they provided a letter. This is an opportunity for you guys to provide them with any feedback and direction you may have on all aspects of the plan. You had given me some direction back when we talked in March to pass on to the developer with regards to some of your questions and concerns, as well as the township board, and I did do that. The township board was in agreement with the comments that you had made back in March when they did grant the waiver request to the developer. And so, tonight again, I'll let these two gentlemen introduce themselves, and if they'd like to share their screen to project their plan, they're welcome to do so. They can give a presentation and then certainly receive your feedback. So David, Ned, go right ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Ned, do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is David Beldo, and tonight, we're here for a conceptual review. If you have a moment, I'd like to place the proposed site plan on full screen so we can walk through some of the features that we're proposing for the development. If you give me 1 second. So this is on the a proposed project. It's a retail restaurant use, and we've already had some pre-commitments for some restaurant users at this location. Unfortunately, we can't move along without getting some more definitive site plan comments on this. But it's on the corner of Highland Road and Elizabeth Lake Road. And as you can see, one of the features that we've included is a ring road going back through the entire property. And part of the reason is to service a proposed development on the property line that we're going to share with our neighbor in case that property is ever developed, that they can have an easy in, easy out. And the ring road also allows for easy access through M59 and Elizabeth Lake Road. One of the other features that we've added to this project is some seating area to service the customers, whether it be for restaurant use or just to come out and linger. And the space has been, actually we've expanded it a little bit to accommodate that feature. We also are proposing the construction of a sidewalk from our property all the way down to the library. I think that would help with the walkability and the access to the site, and as well tie into the library facility. At the corner, we've incorporated a feature that it's for presentation. We can put benches there, we can put a welcome sign there, any number of things. It's also heavily landscaped, as well as the creation of a wall along Elizabeth Lake Road that also is heavily landscaped. One of the things that we did is we pushed back the buildings, I think 15, 20 feet from the street to allow for more of the landscaping. So Ned, if you want to take the conversation from here.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ned Jawich. I'm with the developers. As David mentioned, he summed it, very good. But I'd like to add a few things. This plan's really it's been in the making between us and the township especially Sean and Mr. Rick Colbert, and and we heard a lot of things needed to be added to the plan, and we did that on our own expense. And especially, I mean, we're talking major expense to the point it's almost to, I mean, at the edge of economic not feasible. So the ring road, it's a big feature. The dividing those 4 buildings, I mean, we didn't have a continuous 1 building. It's a 4 building. We made the room in between them. I mean, really ample area for walking to the back of the property and make it like a downtown walkable areas. It's a heavy, landscape, and seating will be in between all those buildings, walking to the back. There's an area in the back is still, for future development, and we don't know right now whether we're going to have a duplexes, or residential condos, and that kind of serve as a downtown setting where people can come out and walk to the shops. Then we did added the sidewalk between us and connecting the development all the way down to the library. Then we did a really heavy investment on the corner too, like Dave said. We made that corner first. We kind of screened this corner from the outside and have a nice feature on that things, which can be welcome signs, and it could be a fountain in front of it, some benches, and then we extended the wing walls to both sides of along Elizabeth Lake Road. We pushed the development about like 20-30 feet inside to have and we added a fence all the way, and it's going to be heavily landscaped area, and a sidewalk will serve as a connection to the library, and for making the whole thing is like a connecting the whole corridor of Elizabeth Lake Road. And I think in the landscape in between the building, it is something. Then we added the final thing, that roundabout area, coming in, which is another feature to kind of make the traffic flow better. And really, this plan is not a result of one-time setup. It's been in the making several months, and as a matter of fact, prior to COVID. We lost a big tenant in the process of COVID, like you guys mentioned recently. Aldi was planned to be in this development, and then they went and moved down the street, and somebody asked who's taking the office thing. That's Aldi. So that kind of cleaned. It's good and bad, really. The bad thing is we lost it. The good thing is it made the development really kind of homogeneous. It's kind of right now. It's really kind of the setting the township wanted, is where you feel like it's a downtown area where you have a lot of outside features, the development features, and could be some residential in the back. We don't know at this moment, that area in the back, what we are planning. And if we have a medical, or we have some kind of a gym or residential, but we have an open area for future development. But the development itself, it is really connected with those walkable area and landscaped area between the building all the way to the back, for whatever we have in the back, and then connecting all the way down to the sidewalk to the library. We feel this development is really the best setup for this parcel. And bearing in mind, the M59 is the corridor, and Elizabeth Lake Road, it is the minor road, no matter how we look at it. The development across the street, it is set up like that too. And but we are making it better than the development across the street. We are making the corner and the sidewalk and the landscaping along Elizabeth Lake Road something really a way higher standard than the cross street development, and to make what we heard earlier on in the process, that the township would like to see this thing is like a downtown development area, and we made all those features and we consent on a lot of things to make it, looks like that.
Okay, I think your presentation's done, so we'll start just going to go around and get any comments. We'll start with you, Pete, since you had to go last time. So
You going with me? You going with me, Mary?
yeah.
Okay. All right. This is a curiosity question to either the gentlemen. Is this property owned, or is this under contract?
It's under contract.
Okay. We had previous discussions about this property in the previous site plan that was very similar. And let me back up a minute. Sean, I haven't been involved with the Civic Center development. Is the proposed acreage where we might build our new facilities immediately south of this property between the library? Am I correct there?
Actually, the library is immediately south. And then on the other side of the 8 or so acres that the library sits on would be the 27, 28 acres that the township owns.
South of the library is the proposed Civic Center. Okay, now I get it. Okay. Number two, we talked about trying to develop something that would be somewhat compatible with the master plan, which is tough to implement these days because we have a huge Kroger store sitting there and a lot of other different retail stores. But that being said, there was conversation about having the shops, having the stores face Elizabeth Lake Road. And this is just a question. I don't understand what's that all about, if somebody can address that. And if I'm a developer, I'm not trying to take their side at this point, one way or the other, but what could I build here that would make White Lake Township, the people of White Lake Township, happier than what I am proposing, which is the way I look at it. It's a nice new strip center, but the buildings are broken up, which is kind of a neat feature. I kind of like that. But it's a retail strip center. There's like 15 units that are available for rent here as designed. What do you want from me? What can I do that would be in more harmonious with what White Lake Township is looking for?
I apologize. Is that a question or is that a comment?
That's a question, Sean, and I'm going to nail you with that one.
Hey, you guys get the big bucks to answer questions like that. I mean, I think when we talked about this previously, Pete, you had concerns about whether or not this met with the master plan, which kind of slaps a town center tag on this, which is more of a mixed use.
Right.
And I think that was maybe some of your concern. Is this in keeping with that master plan? And that's, to some extent, up to your interpretation. That's kind of tonight. It's like, what do you guys want to see? I mean, I don't know, if you're calling out this area for future development and you're saying, what's going to become of that? I know that was a question that we had. Planned business does not allow for residential. So, if this was to move ahead, would it make sense to have this, zone something different? Or exclude this area if they intend to do residential there, because unless it's a care facility, traditional residential couldn't really go there. Maybe
so,
mixed
Sean,
use.
right now it's planned business, right?
That's what they're looking at doing, is going to a planned business. That's what they got the waiver for.
Which doesn't support residential?
Waiver. Well, it's not explicitly. I mean, it's difficult. It allows for a mix of non-residential uses, and the residential component could be a care facility. So, we don't have a great hybrid mixed use district. PD is primarily residential with a minor component, allowing a minor component to be non-residential. I don't know exactly how to address that. It's really tough without knowing what they plan to do on that, that swath of land. It almost, I don't know. It's difficult. It almost seems like the ring road could potentially be relocated further north to leave maybe a future residential and do a split zoning with a future residential swath, kind of backing up to that wetland area, like for multiple family, and have an orientation of the ring road that still would allow for that access that Dave mentioned to the, I guess, south and west, so the property behind them can still, cannot be landlocked and still get access. So I don't know. I mean, we're kind of just fleshing ideas out here, but we usually don't get too bogged down into telling them exactly what we kind of speak through our master plan. And by saying that we look at this as being kind of a future town center area, kind of a mixed use area, and we let them work within kind of that framework. And we don't get too specific. We're good at telling people what we are concerned about or we maybe don't like. We're not necessarily just find ourselves in a position where we're helping them plan it though, and giving them ideas and moving things around.
All right, Sean, I get it. So I'll leave it to other commissioners to perhaps make other suggestions or recommendations. I'm not sure what I would say to them from my own personal point of view. My only other issue is the potential of 2 drive-throughs. I look at that traffic, and again, I'm not a planner, I'm not a developer. I just look at that potential traffic, mainly because I drive by a Taco Bell and I see them backed up all the way through the parking lot. And I say, how in the world do they do this? But again, that's not my business. But I look at those 2 potential drive-throughs and I look at the potential traffic, and I just kind of makes me shake my head. So that's all I have, Mary.
Well, I want to mention, and those drive-through, they start, you got to get into the development before you back. So if any backup is going to be inside the development, so you got to enter to the development to the back of the buildings.
No, I'm not worried about backup out on the highway or on the streets. It's just in the development itself. Just seems like it'd be like it could get clogged. Even on the back end, I'd hate to be one of those stores trying to get delivery of product if there's cars lined up behind me.
Well, you're expecting a good business for these people, which is a good thing. I'm optimistic now.
Hey, thanks, Pete. Joe, what about you? I can't see you on my screen, but I know you're there.
Well, thank you. Well, a couple of my comments were very similar to what Commissioner Maher said, which is this looks like just another strip mall that if you go up and down M59, some of them don't look great and they're empty. And when you look at the, immediately east of Elizabeth Lake Road with the Krogers and then Waterfall Jewelers, those buildings look like they were planned together. And the elevations that I see don't seem to mesh with or tie into the other ones. And if I could show my screen, would that help? Because like the strip mall part that's next to it, they have 4-sided pyramid roofs with metal, a green metal roof. The Kroger's has a peaked metal roof. The brick and the facades, they seem to tie in together, yet this doesn't. And then the same thing that Commissioner Maher mentioned, it looks like just another strip mall on Highland Road that was slapped in here, possibly moving them to the front Elizabeth Lake Road as opposed to Highland would help, but also to have the look of it match the Kroger end of it, the Waterfall Jeweler end of it. So those are my comments.
Well, I mean, we're open to the facade change or to add feature to the buildings. We are not opposing, if there is a comment, to, the building on the buildings. But I gotta say, it's you're saying it is a strip mall. It is a strip mall, but it is not like any other strip mall on M59. Those feature the landscape feature between the building. You don't have any development along the M59 from Waterford to US 23, where you have building are separated and they have feature in the front for sit down and a side and a walk all the way to the back to whatever we're gonna put in the back, and it's got features and that roundabout coming in. At the end, this is commercial development, and for the site. So it's not like we're saying we are developing here non-commercial. This is commercial for sure, but we try to make it, and it is an icon and a feature to the township. So we are really open to talk about building elevation. We got no problem, but this breaking these buildings, guys, I mean, really not only economic strain to us, because we lose probably a 10,000 square foot doing that, but we wanted this development to be a nice development too. And like you said, we don't want to empty buildings at the end, and we want a sound development too. So having said that, we're really like, we would like, we're here to hear what's the comments, but bear in mind, this is a commercial development, mixed development with a mix. I gotta say, it's not pure commercial. It could be a mixed development with a back side condo, but the mixed use development.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we're gonna move on to Rhonda.
I appreciate the changes that you did make. Backing it up off the road a little bit. I'm not sure what I was looking for. I was hoping to get a little more wowed or excited about it. I don't care for drive-throughs at all, especially if we want it to look a little more homey or downtown. But yeah, thank you for making the changes that you did. I appreciate those.
I want to elaborate about on a drive-through. In Northville Township, they opposed on a development 5 Mile and back. You guys go see that thing all the time. Then COVID came, and then all the restaurants, most of the restaurants, they start thinking about drive-through, and they did most of their business on drive-through. Now becoming drive-through is the way. Even Chipotle right now, they are proposing drive-through, and they never had before. So it is something people don't like. We pushed the building to the back. We made a heavy screening along Elizabeth Lake Road, and we added a lot of feature to make sure that drive-through is not something when you come and drive that area, you see that feature on the corner. We're gonna invest a lot on that corner, and along the path all the way to the library, and that's the walkable area we're talking all about that we need to create, and we are all for it, and that's why we did not oppose any time, a comment came from Sean or anybody that we need to really work that area, and we did. And if there's any other comments on that corridor, I call it between the corner all the way to the library, or past our property. Besides having that welcome sign and a kind of maybe a fountain or some kind of landscaping, some benches, and then a landscape wall coming down and steps, and then a fence and a heavy landscaping. I don't think you'll see anything in the corner after we're all done, except the feature. You got that's what we're trying to do and make it walkable and friendly.
Debbie? Are you there?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Well, my issues are, again, it looks like a strip mall from M59. You want to make it walkable. Well, people are not going to walk down a sidewalk and try to get into a restaurant across the lane of a drive-through or the parking lot. I guess my vision of this would have been more, not 4 buildings in a row, maybe staggered, some fronting Elizabeth Lake Road, and definitely more creative looking with, if there are restaurants, outdoor seating, which obviously through COVID, we found that outdoor seating was very high on everyone's list. You've got this seating between the buildings, but I think you're gonna feel like you're squished between buildings. And with the drive-throughs, I can't see where people are going to consider this a walkable area when you have drive-throughs right through the parking lot. And I know how crowded it gets at the McDonald's. With now they have 2 lanes feeding into that and they're backed up. And I would see people wanting to walk from one plaza over to the McDonald's. It's not walkable because of the drive-through. And I guess I would really want to know what was planned for the future area.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. And Matt, are you somewhere?
Yeah, I'm here. I kind of got the same kind of comments as Debbie about the walkability, similar to the one, the development over by the root, they've got access points through the development to the exterior of the site or through between the buildings. This does not show that. These sit down areas in between the buildings, I don't know. I mean, I guess everyone thinks the outside seems an asset, but it's not really, doesn't seem like it's very quality outdoor seating. And the fact that it serves more than one of these units here, I don't know. I just see garbage everywhere, I don't see any trash receptacles on the plan for that kind of thing, or everyone's going to do that. So we got garbage. And, this whole thing is kind of hard to look at because I don't know if this is a survey, if it's done on a survey or not. Obviously the corner of 59 Elizabeth isn't accurate because the lane doesn't line up with the lane east of there. It says Elizabeth Road 66 feet wide. Well, there's 4 lanes there. So if it's 33 feet right away, then you got 24 feet, you should have 9 feet left over. So that's going to give you, 9 feet to put 8-foot wide path in there. And they've obviously got more room than that. Strip mall again, I have the drive-throughs. I like to see more of a focal point type of a user there that people go to see or visit. And the same, when I with the site plan, like I say, the property lines, I don't know if these are accurate for what they are, but it almost seems like maybe they got to get these things tied down a little bit better if they're not, so that they can see what they really fit in there. And same thing goes with the comments on the wetlands, where does that really sit to see how much room they really have? But yeah, those are, I guess that's all I got right now looking at it. I mean, even with the cul-de-sac, I know there's a comment about how do these people make the turn out of the drive-through into there. I don't think that's been addressed here. And so it's kind of hard to make comments when some of these things just don't look like they work on what I'm looking at.
Thank you, Matt. Just concur with almost everybody's comments here. When we was passed in March, I think pretty much the same site plan is coming back. So I was a little disappointed. I know that you have added some things, but I mean, to call that corner a big treatment, maybe you could fit a bench there. I don't know who would sit there. If you want to see corner treatments, I think the CVS in Waterford at Crescent Lake Road that's really big treatment for a corner, or what's done throughout Canton, how they fence and have the little walls and landscaping, and really nice landscaping at every intersection. So they do have commercial that's still very pretty. I like Sean's idea about why are we separating, if you did do housing, from kind of the natural area. And I agree that I don't know how wide that space is between the two buildings. It'll get a little bit of sun sometimes in the day, but it's going to get a lot of shade. It's going to, I don't know. It's just, I was looking for something that was pedestrian based. I'm still not happy to hear drive through. Also with COVID was the outdoor dining and pedestrian environments. I think people really like to be outside, and this is just like some kind of, there's lots of arrows on this plan showing where all the cars go. So
Well,
this is a discussion, so that's how I feel. But I think you've gotten our opinion. I don't think we're into, I don't know, we can discuss it further if you'd like, but telling us how we should feel, I don't know that that's gonna go anywhere. But
one thing I wanted to point out that hadn't been really gotten into maybe yet was just what your plans were, Ned, with the 25-foot wetland buffer. There's a good deal of the ring road in the south that is completely within, and actually it almost touches the wetland. That was a comment that had been talked about at the last planning commission meeting, and I don't know what your plans are. How do you plan on addressing that? It shows stormwater basins, significant areas of stormwater basins within that wetland buffer too.
The ordinance does not prevent you from having a road or a detention within the buffer. It prevents you. It's clear about building in the buffer zone. So I don't think we needed the variance, but we talked earlier about having, because of the wetland and the ring road and how the shape of the project, that we will be allowed to have detention and part of the road in a buffer, but we're not proposing any building. And if variance needed, if there's anything in the ordinance that will prevent us from doing that, and we needed variance, we have to have detention. And if we don't have, and then the wetland is kind of in a weird shape. That's why we kind of strained the back of the project to how you're gonna create that ring road, and then in the same token, not lose the project. The ring road, as you know, Sean, it was a big deal, and we kept working it until we got it the way it is.
Yeah.
So.
And just to be clear, the ring road was something that we pushed at the staff level because of access and access management, and also access to the back property that can only be gotten to if this kind of road orientation is similar to what's proposed here. So I think that's one of the features to me that stands out on this site that makes it it's a good feature. And that I'm just saying, there were some comments and concerns about the road being up right at the edge of the wetland. So, had you considered possibly contouring the road to limit that impact a bit? And what I'm saying is that, the whole PB process is a give and take. So you're asking for flexibility, and then the planning commission is going to push on some issues that they want to see, changed to be, more favorable for whatever reason, whether it's walkability or aesthetics or, natural features impacts.
I have no problem moving that road, and have some kind of buffer from the wetland, and like you said, kind of curve it a little bit. But then I want to mention, somebody said that area between the building, as you know, Sean, it's not a small area. It's 30 feet, some areas almost 40 feet wide. This is a This is a significant, we're talking about when we planned this thing and we took that in consideration, we lost 10,000 square foot.
This plan's maybe just a little bit hard to look at. There's a lot going on. And, at this scale, it's just maybe a little difficult to see, but, I would agree that those outdoor spaces, are sizable. And when you compare, some of the cars and some of the parking spaces that are laid out, you kind of get a better feel for it. They're much smaller than the buildings shown. So I think it may skew, your first impression when you're kind of looking at it. And we really don't see clearly what's proposed as far as improvements within. And I know Matt mentioned that, when these are shared areas and it's not just one tenant's responsibility, they tend to be, and I don't disagree with them, when it's a shared area and eight businesses all kind of share this outdoor space, nobody takes care of it. And, we want to build nice things. We want them kept up. And, that comes down to landlords, that comes down to, something in the development agreement that addresses, the maintenance and upkeep of these, not just, from an aesthetic standpoint to make sure the things that go in there look good and continue to look good, but the way it's kept up is appropriate as well. So, that would have to be addressed.
The one more thing is, we have no problem with that. We want to keep it nice and neat and not trashy, and then there's a camp charges to all the tenants. We can include it, and we have no problem working the language. But one more thing, we all forgot about. There's the sidewalk in the front of the buildings. We're proposing here a wide walkable area, and a corner building, and the other one we have by the third building C. There is a patios area, and the features, the connecting, the back and in between the building to the walk in front of the shops. It is really some kind of features, really. It's all, friendly, walkable areas. And then back again, I want to, don't forget the comments and mention about how you're going to go in front of the drive-through. And if you want to come in, if you come in on the sidewalk, from the back, or you are, walking up and down the Elizabeth Lake Road, and you want to come to the site, we have no problem cutting into in a back right by the edge of this future, and then you can come through those buildings. Or we're not going to make an entry to the site right by the corners, because this area is featured to be the icon and not to be entering the site right in that spot. So you should be entering the site from here or from the front. We can make a sidewalk connection to the front and on M59, just past the corner, and all the way you can go from the back. We can make a connection from the back. Those kind of things, the connecting the walkability to the site, it is something we can work with you guys on where the best area to connect, and it's not really interfering with the drive-through. So that's why this discussion would like to hear what's on everybody's mind. But we feel we really came up with a major development. It's got a lot of features and a lot of things not in any development, and we're here to discuss any tweaking or anything, really, as long as it doesn't destroy the project. If the project get all upside down, I don't think anybody can develop it. But we can all come up. We all want to come up with a sound project to the township and to us, and that's why you see us. We guys, we really ask for this meeting and to really come and discuss it with you guys and have and address what we can do from what you can.
Thank you. We understand your feelings. I'm not sure you understand our feelings. I see tweaking, but I was expecting to see something different than what came before. But no, I don't think you were there that night. Perhaps you didn't get our feelings at that night. Is there any other comments from the commissioners?
Mary, I don't know if you can see because he's been texting me, but Steve Anderson just joined us, so I don't know if he has some
Yeah.
comments.
Let
We
me-
have, yeah,
can't
with the
see it.
screen share on, you can't see everybody.
No.
No, I had a couple other things that that were general, but I think you guys have probably, I was listening to the information, so you sort of covered the things that I had. You know, I think the key thing is that we want to be able to make this not an eyesore. We want to make it usable. And you guys have sort of talked about all those things. So I don't have any additional comments, but I just think that they need to listen to what we're saying so that they can come back with a viable alternatives for some of those things.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been trying to get on since 8 o'clock.
All right. I think we're done with the site plan sharing right now, Sean.
Sure. David, I don't know if you can, there we go.
There. So I think we all had a chance to speak. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what comes up.
I would just say, Mary, if we have a couple minutes and we could ask Ned and David if they have any questions for the group of you at this point.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Ned, any questions?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and spending time with us. Yeah, you know.
I thank you all and for listening and for your comments, and hopefully we'll have a project that will serve us and the community, and a sound project.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
All right, we're gonna do liaison reports. Rhonda, do you have we meet next week for Parks and Rec, but
Yeah. At the last meeting, we discussed getting a temporary sign outside of Stanley Park. Something not on its base and quite so permanent, so that if the plans do change at all, that it won't be so costly to move a sign. We did get 6 picnic tables ordered. One of them is going to be donated by an anonymous person. But the total is only going to be $5,000, which is a considerable amount less than what it was. And if you've driven by there, they've graded the parking lot and added some stones. So actually, it really looks nice by the road now. So you can go in there and park. We had a cleanup day. I was unable to attend, but there were a few people out there trying to clean up a little bit, just get it cleaned up. And then we amended and approved the bylaws for Park and Rec. And that was about it.
sorry, clicking the wrong thing. Anything from you, Debbie?
We had 2 applicants for the last ZBA meeting. And again, well, we end up with these lakefront lots. They needed side yard setbacks. And of course, the minimum lot width doesn't match today's requirements because these were platted in the 20s and 30s. We did have an issue with the building, maximum building height, and they're going to have to change the roof line a little bit to make the building height. And then, the monument sign for the remodeled McDonald's on 59. We played with that for a while and moved it back, and I think it's gonna look nice. And that was all we had on that meeting.
Was that the McDonald's, that's the east one or the west one?
The west one, north by Myers.
Yeah, okay. We don't have Scott here. Is there any news or views from from the board that we should know about?
I can cover that when you're ready, when I do mine.
Yeah, I think you're next, or a planning consultant is,
He's not here this evening.
we
I don't
don't have a
know.
spot for the engineering consultant to speak.
We don't, but
Some out
you
of
know,
luck.
no,
You can
this is a
talk.
planning meeting, Mike. So you hush up. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't know if Mike and Aaron's here, and we're working on some utility projects. I don't know if you want to hear a little bit from them on kind of there's some good sewer projects that have been going on this construction season that a lot of people are pretty happy about. So if those guys want to chat about that, I think it'd be definitely worth hearing from them.
I think it's important to know about utilities and storm sewer and sanitary sewer.
Well, Aaron could talk for hours, so you're in luck.
Yeah.
That's a compliment too, Aaron.
We do have quite a few exciting projects going on in the world of sanitary sewer. So we're nearing completion on our North Bogey Lake sanitary extension, which is an SAD down off Bogey Lake Road on Pine Crest, Sugden Lake Road, and Barrel Drive. We're finally out to permits on North Hulbert and Oak Ridge Park sanitary SADs. We're expecting some reviews back shortly on those as well. And the biggest project that we've been working on is a drinking water revolving fund project in partnership with Huron Valley School District to bring township water main all the way from M59 down to the Lakeland High School campus, as well as to add iron filtration to our Aspen Meadows well house, which is the main supply for the majority of the north half of the township water system, including the entire M59 corridor. Those projects are out to bids now, and we'll be having a bid opening on the 24th, I believe, of June. And we expect to take a recommendation to award a tentative contract sometime before the 30th of June. And that project, if everything continues to progress as it should per our milestone schedule, we should be starting construction in mid-fall of this year on both of those projects.
Cool. Michael, anything else to add to that?
No, that's a lot of what we've been working on with Aaron's department. So looking forward to seeing some of that come through.
Okay. On to you, Sean.
Okay, well, I don't want to kind of preempt the Parks and Rec Committee because a couple of you are very involved with that, but it's really exciting to report that the township received a $50,000 grant from the Ralph Wilson Foundation for the design of the Triangle Trail. Most of you know what that is, but if you don't, that will kind of connect the trail fill in. The goal is to design a trail that'll fill in the gaps between, I'm going to say, where the Trinity neighborhoods developments pathway ends off all the way down to Elizabeth and Tegardine, up Tegardine to M59, and then down M59 to where the Village Lakes project picks it up out kind of on their far northeast corner. Justin put this grant together, so I want to give him some accolades because he put this all together and submitted it. I want to say, and Mike, I think Justin had sent you a question on that proposal. It was somewhere around $55,000 to do the complete design on that. And so the Ralph Wilson Foundation not only is funding 50,000 of it, they've already sent us the check. I mean, we found out that we were getting it, and within a couple of weeks, they were announcing it publicly. And they've already sent the money. So they are like fantastic. And there's actually an opportunity for us to go back to them and seek funds for the construction. So we do intend to do that, but why not have a shovel-ready project? So again, I don't want to preempt the Parks Committee, but on their agenda next week is discussion on a recommendation of the Township Board for the June meeting to move ahead with the design. And I'm confident, and Mary and Rhonda may nod in agreement, may shake their head in disagreement, but I think the Parks Committee will be wanting to move this ahead because it will. It's almost completely covered by this grant. So we're pretty excited about that. And again, appreciate all of Justin's efforts on that. The second reading for the Stanford Holdings rezoning off of Cedar Island Road will be at the Township Board in a couple of weeks. You guys moved that along at your last meeting. The Township Board had first reading at their last meeting. Your Preserve at Hidden Lakes action tonight will cause that development agreement to go on to the Township Board agenda for June. We are working, the Township Board is working with River Caddis, which is the firm that the Civic Center Development Committee recommended that the township engage with for a Civic Center project, and the board concurred. We're working on a professional services agreement with them that's been approved in concept. We're just kind of ironing out some details. And, you know, we hope that in the next few business days, we'll have that thing done and be moving forward. Obviously, at a point in the not too distant future, the whole planning commission is going to be involved with that area in one way or another. So that's, you know, pretty exciting. And I think most of the township that knows really about this is pretty excited and pretty optimistic about it. So plenty more to talk about that in the coming months. We're getting our third Taco Bell. So I heard somebody talk about Taco Bell. Pete, I think it was you. You're very excited. So when you're waiting in line and there's all those people in front of you at the Taco Bell that's closer to your house, you can pop up to the one on 59 by the new Aldi, or you can go all the way down to Meyer to the outlet that's right next to the McDonald's that Debbie was just talking about, where we have a proposal for our third Taco Bell. I don't know if that's a record, but it's got to be close. So there is a high demand for tacos, and I know Mr. Anderson likes extra lettuce on all of his stuff, so he'll be asking for that when they open. And you know, he knows I'm right. Centerpoint Plaza, Mr. Pope is wrapping up that project just east of Township Hall, and I know he's working on tenanting out that space and has had a couple of leads. So if anybody knows anyone, I'm sure Mr. Pope would love to hear from you. It's a nice building, and it's coming along, coming down the home stretch. Four Corners, I heard in a meeting I had the other day that they have 13 units leased out right now, which I think is pretty decent. They've been open for about 30 days now and had residents for about 30 days now. Only half of their 81 units roughly half of them are available to be lived in at this point. The building that's on the west side that faces Cooley Lake is the one that has certificate of occupancy and is habitable. The other one's not there yet. So I certainly hope that they can continue to fill that building. And that's, I think, really all I have at this point. Again, the Township Board has been real busy with the Civic Center project. And I think if Scott were here, he'd be able to, you know, share his opinion on that a little bit more. But it's you know, they're all good things, really. And Mary and Debbie, who from this group are members of the Civic Center Development Committee, can probably attest to that. And so we're ready to kind of take those next steps here in the coming weeks and, you know, kind of start bringing that study along of what we will be doing in that Civic Center area. So if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
I do. So we have such a creative, imagination for this downtown area right now. Is there any way to, I don't know, suggest that they work with River Caddis a little bit or somehow tie this in so that that corner at 59 Elizabeth Lake Road flows into the downtown? I don't know how to make that happen. I don't know.
That's an interesting idea, certainly. I think that the uses that they are proposing aren't really out of line for property that is frontage on 59. I think they need a little bit of, you know, maybe outside the box thinking or creativity sprinkled in. And I'm not trying to be rude. I don't have all the answers either. I'm not a designer, but I agree with a lot of what was said tonight. And I think that the sentiment of the Planning Commission is that, look, we know what this property could or should be used for. It's really how it looks and how it functions that's going to be important, not just from what are the brick colors and what do the awnings look like. It's how do the buildings look and feel from M59? How do they feel from Elizabeth Lake Road? Is it inviting, or is it, auto-centric, which is not what our goal is down the corridor. And, I think you guys, pushed in that direction. I hope they heard that. I hope they want to have, further conversation with you, because, for better or for worse, they've come in at a time where we're hyper focused on that area. And, we're going to really push for what the master plan and what the vision of the township envisions for this corner. And they have an opportunity to be a part of a really neat thing. And I hope they look at it that way. I hope they look at it as an opportunity to work with us to kind of come up with something that's in concert with what our long range plan is. And they don't look at it as us just pushing back, because that's not the tone I took from what you guys had to say. You were kind of nudging them in the direction of kind of what the Civic Center Development Committee and what the master plan had, kind of looked for in this area. So that's not a bad idea, Debbie. I mean, I'm sure, River Caddis, those folks are pretty outgoing. I don't know that they would object at all to sitting down with them to say, have you thought of this or have you thought of that? Because obviously they've studied extensively that corridor over the last many months. So they could probably shed some light on it.
Howard too maybe could converse. I just felt if they talked more, we would come around.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
going anywhere.
Right.
Not only that, I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea because isn't potentially the new Civic Center going to have a commercial partners or something?
Yeah.
And that's what River Caddis is, Pete. They're our private partner, and we're going to work with them to study that area and kind of determine how exactly it should be developed, from a land use perspective, how things will physically lay out, and see kind of what the highest and best use, what the best proposal is to kind of move forward through the process.
That's a great idea to have them sit down and talk to them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Thanks, Debbie. I will mention that.
Okay. And then we talked a little bit in the half hour before the meeting about next meetings, possible things that might be coming up.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a legal requirement to post rezoning signs 15 days ahead of a public hearing. And the signs didn't make it up yesterday on the corner of property we were just discussing. So I can't legally advance. I can't move. They basically voided their public hearing. I can't move them through the process when they haven't met that requirement. And so it was just an honest mistake. It's not a huge deal. Other than, they have a timeline, and I want to try to be helpful to them and, moving their project, to the next step. So you could consider it, not knowing what you would say or think. So I actually think that it's probably unlikely that we're going to have a meeting 2 weeks. I can't say. I'll know more next week. But it's most likely going to be a July 1st public hearing for those gentlemen that you talked to tonight. And hopefully they take some of your comments back between now and then. Maybe it's kind of a blessing in disguise that they can't make the meeting in 2 weeks, because it gives them more time to get the comments back that are due back to them next week after the second review, and then, kind of dive into it a little bit more based on what comments you gave them.
Okay, I guess any other commissioner comments? Okay, I guess we're ready to adjourn then. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
From Pete, second.
Support.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Nice
Good
to-
night, guys.
Good night,
Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Good job,
Everybody.
Mary.